Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony along with Blake. It's been a minute since Blake has been on here. And this is episode 68 of Hard Knock Hawks, the podcast where we talk about our favorite basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks, and sometimes other stuff in the NBA too. And today we're going to be talking about the unfortunate end to the Hawks season with a very interesting game six and plus the exit interviews that happened throughout the weekend. I said unfortunate game six because if you watched during the weekend, the Hawks basically got destroyed by the Knicks, 140-9. They had the Knicks had the biggest halftime deficit in playoff history. They scored 83 points in the first half. It was insane. I wasn't able to watch the full game because I was working that day, but I couldn't believe it. I was box score watching, and that was literally the first time in my entire life I literally thought the box score was glitched. that was I couldn't believe it because I know you watched the game, right, Blake, or were you there?
Unfortunately, yeah, we were there.
Oh, dang! Oh my
Yeah.
god! Because like I watched because I was just box score watching, right, and I just looked at the first quarter. It was like 21-11, and I was like, okay, they're down 10 points,
Yeah.
and 10 points is not good. Down 10 points is not good, but we came back from that before. Then I look back on my phone later, and it's 40-15 Knicks, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
is this isn't right? This is weird.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It
so
got out of hand quick.
yeah, like, and then I rewatched the game, and it was just the Knicks were just getting everything. They were just
Yeah.
I was just shocked. What you were at the game, Blake? What was your experience, basically?
Um, I mean, funny enough, um, I had tickets to all 3 games being a season ticket holder. I sold game 3 and
Oh,
went to game 4 and 6.
that
So,
that's the most unfortunate thing.
oh, it hurt.
That
Oh, it hurt.
sucks. Oh my god.
It hurt. But yeah, I mean, it just nothing went their way. It was bad. I mean, I know it was. I think in NBA history, I think the biggest halftime deficit was 50. I think it was like 58 or something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
they were right there. Like, I think Brunson missed a three at the end of the half with like 10 seconds left, and I think that was gonna put them. It might have been 56. That might have been for the record. But yeah, I mean, they were really close. But I mean, it was people around me, Knicks fans, because we were in the 200 level, so you had your Knicks fans that were all behind their bench and down there on that end of the baseline, and then you had them kind of scattered throughout the 200 level. But I mean, it was like nobody knew what to do. Everybody was in shock.
oh,
Because, Nikhil hit that 3, I think it was 14 to 11 or something like that, and then
they
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 gave up, like, a 70 to 11 run, and
yeah,
everybody was just shocked. I mean, people started leaving in the 3rd quarter. I mean, they started giving out free food. It was bad.
they
Yeah,
really did give out free food.
yeah. No, they did. They
Oh my
did,
god.
they did. Um, I think it was
Oh,
in, like, the 4th quarter. It was towards the end of the 3rd or the 4th quarter. Yeah, they just started giving out free food. Um, I mean, they didn't even check because season ticket holders, we have, membership discounts for food
uh,
and stuff like that. They didn't check that all night. I mean, like, nobody like, it was everybody was just
it was just a free for all.
yeah, it
Oh
was
my.
it and it was one of those where people were ready to just leave, but at the same time, it was like, we kinda wanna see how bad this gets. I mean, because quite literally, we were witnessing history in person. It was
Oh,
bad. It was
I
really bad.
made sure to look up the stats. Knicks had a 47-point halftime lead. That's the biggest lead in NBA history at that point, and obviously the 51-point final margin. That's the biggest deficit biggest blowout the Hawks ever faced. Ever. It's even bigger than the infamous 2010 Orlando Magic Hawks series that was 16 years ago. So I'm
That
just
would, yeah.
I'm just kind of just shocked by it, man. I'm just
I know. And, I didn't realize this until after the game when they were doing the post-game interview, but
uh-huh.
all this happened and Cat had 4 shots. He had 4 field goal attempts.
Yeah.
He had a
That's
triple double on 4 field goal attempts. I'm like, well, that sums up the night.
He was just doing anything. Like I'm
I
just
know.
wow.
I mean,
Like
it was insane. The
that
most entertaining part of the game was the fight.
yeah, that
I
you know,
mean,
it's a really bad sign when Dyson Daniels getting ejected is probably the best thing you can say about the game. That
yeah.
really was the best part. Because I mean, they cared. It's just, I mean, I guess, but I mean, they couldn't do anything. They just
I
got
know
destroyed.
it's hard because I had asked, I was with my dad and my girlfriend, and I asked both of them. I said, "What? You're down 50." I said,
Yeah,
"What do you say at halftime?"
don't get embarrassed.
I mean, it's because it's one of those where in a
Like I
regular
don't know.
season game, it's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go win the third quarter.
Uh
I'm like,
huh.
I mean, season's over. What do you do? I mean, I mean, Mitchell Robinson got ejected. Him and Dyson got ejected for that
Yeah.
fight. He was at plus 29 in 9 minutes.
I just,
I
I
mean,
just,
just move on the next one.
I really did not expect the series to end this way. I thought, as someone who thought the Knicks was going to win the series, I really thought the Hawks were going to be more competitive,
Mhm.
especially during the end. It's just,
Yeah.
I do feel it's very frustrating as a fan, just see them kind of just whimper out like this. But
Yeah.
it is good experience to just see them, to see the
Yeah,
obvious flaws
it
of this
is.
team.
I think a lot of us had within our group, our expanded Hawks fan group that goes outside the podcast. Yeah, I think a lot of us had the series being Knicks and 6, but I don't think any of us thought that that was how they would get there. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it was quick. I mean, honestly, when the Hawks went up 2-1, I thought they might have a real shot.
Yeah.
And then it was just dominance the
I
next
feel
3
like
games.
if they would have had, in retrospect, the game that probably really should have determined the series was probably game one. I felt they had a real chance to win that game. It's just
Yeah.
there was like a real. I think I even mentioned this earlier in one of the other podcasts talking about the series. They had a real chance to win that game one.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
could
Yeah.
potentially won. It could be 3-0, and it could have just
Yeah.
we could that could be really interesting, but I don't
I
know.
know, and it was tough, and, nobody wants the series to end like that,
Yeah,
or go like that, but, at the same time, it's one of those where Jalen didn't play great.
yeah,
Jalen didn't do Jalen things. Nikhil was awful all series, and it was just one of those where, honestly, when it comes down to it, you won those 2 games because of CJ McCollum,
yeah.
and I
And Kaminga.
yeah, 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 and Kuminga was great off the bench in those 2 games. But I think it was one of those where the Knicks were so focused on game planning for Jalen and Nikhil that they didn't really have a plan for CJ and Kuminga. And, when they started going off, especially in game 2 when CJ led them back to that 4th quarter comeback,
Yeah,
it was like, okay, yeah, because Mike Brown, he's a good coach. The Knicks are, they've got some vets on that team, and I think it was one of those where they're like, okay, let's not get away from the game plan. He had a great night. Let's go. Same game plan in game 3. It worked 3 quarters. We won game 1, and then CJ. I mean, it was the whole team shot the ball extremely well, and then CJ had another great night. So I think that was something that they didn't really know how to adjust to at that point. Um, just because, I mean, honestly, if you would have asked me if CJ would have won us 2 games, I would have said no. I thought it would have been Jalen
I'm
or
not.
Nikhil.
I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened because this team was after the All-Star break very reliant on CJ. They were
Yeah, they were.
super reliant on
That's a good point.
CJ. They were really relying on him. That was one of my biggest worries going into the playoffs was how much burn was CJ gonna get. CJ was gonna get during the playoffs,
Yeah.
and what happens if CJ has a bad game, and especially with the Knicks, they
Mhm.
realize, okay, CJ, we know you can't pass. Can you make the right
Yeah,
correct pass to the right man?
I
And
know.
nope, you're gonna turn over
Yeah,
the ball. And the Knicks were really good in transition. And they did
yeah.
the same thing with Kaminga during like the
Mhm.
4 really bad games he had during the series. And
Yeah,
that was wraps. That was series.
yeah.
And it sucks because the Kel had a bad game and Jalen was just really bad throughout the whole series, except for
Mhm.
like one decent half. And like
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you can
yeah.
say.
I mean, it was Nikhil had that fantastic game when they played in Atlanta the last week or 2 of the season, and I think that kinda influenced how the Knicks played the Hawks. Um, but, like you mentioned, once CJ had a bad game and Jalen and Nikhil were not playing well at all that series, it Hawks just don't have a scorer.
Yeah.
And they were so reliant on CJ, as you mentioned. It was one of those where it's like, okay, Jalen's not really going. We can't get Nikhil going, and then you're trying to force Kaminga into taking threes to play catch up when that's really not his game. So I mean, it was one of those where it was just kind of the game plan went out the window from the start. Games 4 through 6, but it is what it is. I think a big piece that the Hawks need to look at this offseason is some creation and scoring in the front court, or not front
Yeah.
court, the back court, excuse me.
Well,
Um,
just any kind of creation. Like
True.
they just need ball handling creation. I think they're probably
Yeah,
gonna have to get another guard. They not have probably they have to. Someone that's
yeah.
not CJ.
Yeah, they've got to get a real score. Just because you don't have one. Because I don't know. It's hard to tell because Jalen, playoffs are completely different. And Jalen, his game in the regular season is one side, and the playoffs is totally different. So when the defense kind of closes in, he there were times where it was like he didn't know what to do, and that's okay because he's young, and that's why you make him the guy. That was the whole point of making the playoffs this year, was to get him a Nikhil experience, because Nikhil's playing in a totally different role than when he was playing in the playoffs in Minnesota. So, it's one of those where it was a good experience, but I think it showed some things of where the Hawks need improvements at. And as you mentioned, ball handling, that really got exposed this series, because I think with the Hawks' lack of ball handling overall, it hinders you from playing Jalen at the three. And I think it would work with what Quinn's wanting to do, because he wants to get out, get in transition, play as fast as possible. And Jalen at the three I think you would have some very solid minutes there because of his shot making that he had this regular season, but you just don't have the ball handling for it. And
Yeah.
you've got CJ and Nikhil running the point, and they're just not the greatest passers.
Yeah. It's gonna be really interesting to see how they handle some of that stuff during the offseason, especially with the draft coming up, depending on
Mhm.
where that pick lands. But I do want to ask you this since of how these last few games ended. Do you think any potential jobs should be on the line, especially after game 6 landed? Like, do you think Quinn Snyder should not be rehired because of this? Do you think people should be traded? Because I've seen the post game spaces. I've seen the
Mhm.
Facebook posts.
Yep.
It's nasty. It's a
Yeah.
terrible. It's a wasteland out there. It's not good.
Yeah. It's a tough question because, if you had some very competitive games, games 4 and 5, and then just got blown out of the water in game 6, it'd be a lot different, and I think a lot of people would think of it differently. Um, but, it's no, I don't think the coaching staff was great. I don't think anybody is gonna be gone. Onsi even mentioned it in his exit interview. He's mentioned it a couple different times. Quinn's gonna get extended. Um, to me, it was, the game plan was there. I thought the defense in the half court setting was the entire series. I thought it was good. It was, you just got absolutely dominated in transition. And I think the main, common denominator in every game that you lost, you didn't make shots. And, game one, you had that really rough stretch. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in from like the second to the third quarter, you couldn't make anything. And
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think you're
it
right
was
about that.
rough. I mean, you were just missing timely shots. You didn't get anything that you wanted. You were getting beat in transition because you missed shots. And then we saw that in games 2 and 3. Hawks were making shots down the stretch. So to me, that was what it really came down to, because I thought Quinn's game plan didn't really change. When you were down, you were getting dominated game to game. It didn't change. He stuck with it. The half court defense was good. You just didn't really have execution from the guys, and part of that's your roster situation. You've got some guys playing out of position. Jock was hurt, so you had Mo playing the 5, which he's not a 5. Nothing against him, but we were asking him to play out of position. So I thought Quinn did what he could with what he had. So it'll be interesting to see next season, because I thought Quinn did such a good job with figuring out these lineups. He had a couple questionable rotations in this series, but I thought he did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah, I think for me, as bad as some of these last few games were, especially Game 6,
Mhm.
I don't think ultimately it's going to really affect anything about Quinn Snyder's hiring or his future here. I think he's going to get extended. There was a
Mhm.
report from the Athletic saying that he's probably going to get extended anyway. So either
I am
way,
curious to see how long it is.
I think it's probably going to be 4 or 5 years,
I was
probably.
thinking 5. I was thinking
Yeah,
5 as well.
I think I think it's probably going to just be the full standard, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I mean, either way it goes, this team went from 27-31 to being a playoff team,
Yeah.
and you can't take that away, despite how bad everything went by the end of the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I think it's still a really good thing that Quinn did that, helped do
Mhm.
that. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Now I do have some concerns about some rotation decisions, like Kispert being in the playoffs, playing at all, because despite one stretch,
Mhm.
um, he has been terrible. But to be fair, I've seen people harping on this a lot. I don't think I think harping on it so much. The Kispert minutes were really bad, but I don't think they've been harped on so much to where that people make it seem like it was super duper consequential. But I don't think it should be mentioned as much as they should have been. Honestly, does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think there are bigger questions, honestly, like benching Dyson. Well, not benching, but playing Dyson Daniels and Gabe Vincent almost the same amount of minutes in Game 4. I think that's a way bigger problem I have, especially when Dyson's been the better player in the series.
Mhm.
That's some of the questions I have. Um, I know you said Mo's out of position. Technically, most better as a 5. It's just that most better as a 5 than a 4. It's just that he's too skinny.
Yep.
That's the issue. That he's just too skinny.
It's one of those
That's
where
the lineup. It's the lineup that says it, but he's just too skinny
yeah,
against Mitch.
he can't play the 5 or he would get hurt.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue. But I feel like he probably should have lead more into defense at times, considering some of the players that we have here are more defensive oriented. The better players that we have here are more defensive oriented. I think it
Yeah.
maybe could have worked, but honestly, I don't know. We got blown out by 20 or 30 points, so
Yeah.
it may have not made such a difference anyway. So
Yeah, it
I,
was tough because again, you were missing shots, and I think part of that was him trying to find some offense, but at the same time, it's honestly Corey and Zach kind of give you the same thing, but Zach plays some better defense.
yeah,
So it
I
was I didn't understand that one.
I would have liked to see Zach play a little more just to see, because maybe he could have done something, but I understand him not playing at all
Hmm.
during the series or Ace and Noel, because it could have just been bad, and the Knicks could have
I was kind
just
of surprised
proved.
we didn't see Asa.
Yeah, I am surprised about that, but maybe he could have just gave them a spark potentially, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's it's just Quinn
because
doesn't
to
trust the young
me,
guys.
because I do want to get your opinion on this. I feel like Asa kind of fits better with what Quinn is trying to do than Mo.
Yeah, because he's better on offense right now. He just
Yeah,
is. Like he can shoot threes.
I think he's a bit quicker
He's a
too.
great rim runner. Like he's good.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
just not he's just not a good center.
Yeah.
He's a 4, and we just have a lot of 4s. Like it's better to just play Jonathan Kuminga, Jalen. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but ultimately, like some of the rotation questions I have, it really doesn't matter if Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen, and CJ are gonna have bad games. Because if your 3 stars are gonna play bad,
Yeah.
then it's over. So
Yeah, and again, I think that just comes down to roster construction, because, you're in such a you were in such a weird spot this year because
yeah,
this was the first season with Quinn that you had expectations, and then
yeah.
those got thrown out the window
When Trey
because
got traded,
yeah, because
and
Trey was hurt slash
yeah,
horrible this year slash I mean, been reported as a locker room cancer this year. I mean, it was just a whole ordeal. It was get him out. KP wasn't available,
yeah.
and it just all got blown up. Luke Kennard was not bad. He had some
He,
iffy
he, he
stretches.
was he was really good. I thought at the end. It's just
Yes.
he was a small guard, and we just replaced him with more defense with Gabe
Hmm.
Vincent.
I did
So
not mind that trade at all,
yeah,
because I thought Gabe kind of he did give you more on defense. But I thought it's hard to say because Luke went out there and put up 25, I think it was 27 actually in the first playoff game of the series. But I think he was going to give you more defense. I think he was going to give you a little bit more shot selection off the dribble because Luke really hesitated in the beginning. He was just wanting to shoot spot up threes or catch and
yeah,
shoot threes. It was weird. And you got the trade exception back. You kind of reset that when Onsi used that. Basically, for anybody listening, he traded Kennard for Gabe Vincent, used the trade exception, got another trade exception back. It is literally the same amount, and it ends the same day. No joke, like the trade exception was about to expire. He just flipped it and extended it a year. So, I mean,
yeah.
and you got a second round pick. So, I mean, it worked out. But it was weird because they put Quinn in a weird spot. Um, not only for himself but the media. So, you had those expectations, it flamed out, and then it was one of those where you were in such a bad spot, and then you got really hot. Quinn was really coaching well, guys were playing really well, and then you made it to the playoffs, and it was like, "Okay, well, what do we do now?" Nobody really expected for them to turn it around like that. So, I thought Quinn had a really good year,
Yeah.
given what, the cards he was dealt.
Yeah, I think objectively, yeah, he had a great year. Considering everything, considering the trades,
Mhm.
KP, like he clearly had a great year. Like, if he doesn't resign, it's gonna be because he just doesn't want to deal with, I guess, the drama that was here over the past few years. Because I'm pretty sure they probably
Yeah.
want to resign him.
I think the only way that he doesn't resign is if Tony takes control and he doesn't wanna go one direction.
I,
Because Onsi even said it in his interview, they have a great relationship, and I thought that was something that Quinn and Landry did not have.
I feel like Tony will probably be 100. Tony will 100% be on board with
Yeah.
signing Quinn. He brought him here. He brought him
No, he
here.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's no way he's gonna fire him again or
well,
do
see, I
that.
might
Yeah,
have I might have worded that wrong. The only
go
way that I
ahead.
don't see Quinn signing is if Tony wants to go one way and Onsi and Quinn wanna go another.
Okay, that makes
But,
sense.
it yeah, sorry, I probably worded that wrong, but,
You're good.
I'm hoping Tony kinda sees it, and, I've said this multiple times, but we actually have a GM now that is willing to get fired before he caves to the owner. And, that was something that we didn't have with Landry. So, I think, Quinn has yet to get his guy too. So, I'm really excited. Hopefully, maybe this year, next off season, he'll get his guy and he'll go from there.
Yeah, me too. We'll see what happens with this lottery because I
Yeah.
think that that day is gonna be probably gonna be one of the most
Is it next
hype.
weekend?
It's yep. Next, we're recording this on May 3rd. It's May 10th, so literally a week away.
Oh,
Less
okay,
than
so
a
it's
week
next
away,
Sunday.
technically.
Okay.
Yep. But
Nice.
let's talk a bit about the future and a few things from the exit interviews, since that's gonna be on people's minds now since this
Mhm,
season for the Hawks is over. I didn't really find that many interesting quotes from players that interesting, to be honest. It was a bunch of stuff from Risa Shea's playing time and about
mhm.
how people, basically how they treat that. Risa Shea said it was just interesting about how he had to adapt from being a starter to just always having to be ready because he was coming off the bench. Um, Onsi talked about the progress from being a below 500 team to becoming a 500 team in the end. Uh, he was focused a lot on development, and said that there was a possibility that they could take two 19-year-olds. So this
Mhm.
team could be even younger. And for the draft, he said best player available on the board, no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind, no matter what happens. So I think people have to get their expectations that it may not be about fit. It has to be best player available.
Yeah. Um, a and I think part of that because, this is such a loaded draft,
Yeah,
and I do think that's part of it, because you're at some point, e especially with Onzi, because he's made it so, he's made it so self-centered that this draft is really important to the Hawks' future. So
yeah,
I think it's one of those where it's take the best available guy and then you make the fit work.
yeah,
So it's It'll be interesting, because it's the best swap of Nola and Milwaukee.
Yeah,
So we got 2 chances. Knowing Onsi and Quinn, I have a feeling they have a draft board of wherever it falls. If this is who's available, this is who we're taking.
yeah.
So we shall see. And I do want to ask you one thing: the Darren Peterson injury slash cramp slash diet questions. You think those are legit, or do you think those are manufactured?
We just, I honestly want to wait till we get more information. I want to talk to like more draft people. Like, I want to plan like an actual interview with the draft guy to see his thoughts because it's just, I don't know. That's my honest opinion. I have no clue, and it makes me really scared to draft him because we could just draft someone that could just potentially be injured all the time,
Yeah.
and that's very scary. Like,
Mhm.
I I mean I have a feeling that people may just be overthinking Peterson and he
Mhm.
could just end up being really good. But that just is praying and hoping his high school tape that's just praying he is as good as he was in high school. And I saw that and I was doing that with AJ Griffin and that completely failed. So I
Yeah.
really don't want to do that again. I really, really don't want to do that again if that pick ends up with DP. But if we get pick 4, he's probably gonna be there because I think he's 100% dropping. So
You think so?
I I think he's clearly the guy that's gonna drop out of the consensus 4 guys. I think he's clearly the one that's gonna drop. Like
Okay.
he's the one that has like a lot of bad press. He's probably gonna drop.
That's fair. Um, I think Darren Peterson helps you the most right off the
I mean,
bat.
he's clearly I think the best fit for the Hawks. But if like let's say if I had a number 1 pick, I wouldn't choose him.
I'm taking AJ.
Uh, I mean that's fair, but I'm not taking him. I mean, people already. I said who I would take. I think before, but I'm not
I
taking
know who
AJ.
you wanna take, but
Yeah,
does
I'm
the
not taking
world
it.
know?
I mean, I think I said before. I'm not saying it until later.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know.
Fair, fair.
Well, I'll just say it. Boozer. I'm taking Boozer. He's too good. I think people are overthinking Boozer. He's gonna be good. Just
He's gonna be very good. I just don't know that the fit with Quinn would work.
listen. Best player available. Best player
Fair,
available.
fair. And
BPA.
if he's there, then you might have to take him.
Yeah, 100%. If he's there, I'm taking 100%. I don't care what anyone says. I don't
Okay.
care about fit. Like, man, I just saw my team get blown out 3 times in a
Yeah,
row. Like, I don't care about fit.
yeah.
Do you
I
think
know,
I'm talking
and
about fit?
part of that, I think why Onsi said that, the Hawks' latest draft pick that they've hit on was Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
They
And
they they mi Ricochet
I
is
mean, to be fair, Ricochet could be good. Could asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You know, it's like the 2024 draft has not been the greatest so far, I feel like. So I feel like you could give them a pass for that one, I guess.
yeah,
Because I don't think there really hasn't been any super big winners other than Stephon Castle. But I think you could get another guard that's better than Stephon Castle. So
yeah,
it, I, I feel like it's probably gonna be fine in the end. So
but I trust Onsi, so we'll
yeah,
we'll we'll see.
I think he's gonna be good. I like the Ace Noel pick so far. Well, not so far. I think he's gonna be good, despite how many people completely shat on the Ace Noel pick. It really did make sense to me because I thought
Yeah, and I
he,
don't want it to sound like I don't wanna say that that draft pick didn't hit because quite literally, we haven't seen enough.
yeah, we
He
haven't seen
just hasn't been able to play. I mean, you've got a power forward room of about 8.
Yeah, he looks good so far. He looks really good.
Yeah, no, I think he's gonna be really good.
Yeah,
It will be interesting to see because I thought he would play a little bit more in College Park this year than he did
yeah,
when he didn't play as much with the Hawks, when he kind of fell out of the rotation. But one thing that they started working with him on at Georgia, I think they were trying to build his post game.
yeah,
So if he continues to develop that, he might be interesting.
yeah.
Um, he's got some defensive instincts, but those guys in College Park, man, they can develop. I
Yeah.
mean, Mohamed Gay, he couldn't defend anything when he came into the league. It was a literal
He had the tools. It's just
he didn't have the instincts.
he didn't have. Yeah, it took him time. It took
Yeah,
him a long time.
man, they developed him, because now he can guard the perimeter a little bit.
Yeah,
And it was insane what they did with him in 2
he's good.
years. I mean, so, we'll see. I'm hoping I'm hoping that he gets some burn in the rotation this year so he can develop a little bit and we can see what he's got. Plus, I think we saw it in like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season when they played the Rockets. He had a really solid game.
Yeah,
His 3 looks legit, and I know that was
yeah.
kind of a question when he
It's
came into the league.
it does look legit. Like I hated it when when he just died when his three just died because it seemed like it was kind of fake, but I think it's real. I think that three is
Even the misses
100%
look
real.
good. Yeah, the
Yes,
misses
I
look
think it's
good.
real.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's gonna be good. So we'll see. I think it's one of those where you kinda know what floor you have with him. Now it's just seeing what the ceiling is and how
Yeah,
long it takes to get there.
yeah,
Because he's one of those where he's so talented but so raw that his ceiling could take a year. He could hit a ceiling this season, or it could
maybe.
take 4 years for him to reach that.
I mean, we'll see because I mean he's I think he's gonna get more playing time next
Mhm.
season because
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be too good not to play. We're just gonna have to let time play out right now. So,
yeah.
but I do want to ask you this. So, one of the main off-season things I find interesting, since this is just gonna be early off-season rumor stuff now, is there are potential extensions involving CJ and Jonathan Kaminga, which this is gonna be a topic we're just gonna end this episode off to, by the way. So
Mhm.
there were two major players for the All-Star break. They helped us get to the record we ended off with them. So would you extend CJ and Jonathan Kaminga, or do you think it's not really worth extending them? Would you extend one or the other, or what would you do currently right now in your mind before we even know anything about the draft picks or anything?
I think there's a possibility that you get one or the other. Um, and honestly, I think there's a possibility that if that happens, it's gonna be Kaminga. Um, I would love to bring both of them back off the bench. I don't want CJ starting. I want to get an upgrade there and have a better fit for what the Hawks need at the one. Um, it, honestly, and I know the new CBA kind of brings questions, and money's such a big thing now with that because the cap is just increasing year after year after year.
I will give one correction. The cap went down $1 million this year.
Are you serious?
Yes, it went
Did
down a
not know
million.
that.
Yeah, it did went down a million. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I gotta
Well,
look it up, but it did go down a million.
I would, in my personal opinion, I would bring CJ back to be your sixth man. Or well, I take that back. Your seventh man, because in a perfect world, I want to get an upgrade to where Nikhil is your sixth man and just giving you 15 points a game off the bench. I think that would be wonderful. Um, but I would bring CJ back for 10 million a year, 10 or 12 max. I don't know that I would give him 15. There's been reports that he's gonna be requesting 20 to 25.
He wants starter money. He
There's
wants
no
starter
way.
money.
There is no way for a guy that has never been in an All-Star game and is gonna be 35 years old next year and doesn't play defense. I'm not gonna do that. Um, he just doesn't have, he's an offensive only guard, which is fine. But he's not gonna give you what you need for him to make that money. I mean, quite literally, Jalen Johnson would make $5 million more than CJ McCollum. I'm good on that. Um, you can find somebody else, free up that money, go to free agency. Um, so I would bring him back for the right price. And Kaminga, I would bring him back for the right price as well. He shows very good defensive instincts. Love his defense. I think I don't know if you posted it on the Hard Knock Hawks page, the Twitter page, or maybe one of you guys tweeted it on your personal. But the game two that the Hawks won in MSG, when Nikhil got that strip on Brunson, I mean, Kaminga pushed him into position. He gave him a little shove in the back to
Yeah,
be in that
he did.
position. I mean, he learned that from Draymond. I mean, that's defensive instincts right there. He's got so much to develop, but he was in a tough spot because Golden State just, I don't know why they didn't like him. That was a whole ordeal in its own. So it's tough. And the last thing that I'll mention about him, I think you might be in the driver's seat here. And I want to get your opinion on it as well. But CJ made it public. He said it in an interview, and I don't remember what interview it was. It might have been a podcast, but he talked about how he doesn't want to keep moving his family. And I think you might have a little leeway. You might have a little leverage there with that. So it'll be interesting to see that. And with Kaminga, that one's a bit trickier just because Kaminga's camp can view it two ways. They can view it as, okay, he kind of showed what he's got this year, but he hasn't scratched that surface of what he really can be. So we're going to ask for X amount of money because this is what we think he's worth. Or it could be one of the, and they can be trying to take a flyer and they're like, okay, we believe in him. We want this much. Or it could be one of those where they're like, okay, we had such a tough time in Golden State. Nobody liked us. We didn't have a home. We finally found a home. These guys like us. We like that we have a mutual relationship that is good. If they want to work a deal, we're willing to do that because we have a guaranteed home. And it's tricky because in that case, I don't know what the Hawks view him as, but he might be asked to take a couple million in a pay cut.
With CJ, I'm gonna be honest. For a few days, I was thinking I would probably be fine with resigning him, but now I'm like, I do not want this team to be super reliant on CJ because if we're giving him that money, he's gonna be starting, especially because I
He would
think
make more. He'd make more than Nikhil.
I don't think, yeah, he's gonna be asking like 20, 15, 20 million a year. No, I wouldn't resign CJ because we could get a guard in the draft. There I
Yeah.
could get cheaper guards. There's no reason to. I'm not gonna let this team be super dependent on one guy again. Like we had, I've said this before on the podcast. Like there's no reason to let this team be super dependent on just one guy to be good for entire portions of the season again. Like Bogey, like Capella, like all these guys over and
Mhm.
over again. And when they suck, this team's terrible, and we can't let that happen again. And
Yeah.
they have to find other ways to be good. And with CJ, I'm not gonna let that. He can go to Brooklyn, like he can move to Brooklyn for that. Like
Yeah.
let his family enjoy New York. So with
So
Kaminga, Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. While we're on CJ, with him not because Kuminga has that option next year. CJ's just a free agent. You have basically 56 million in first apron space.
Uh huh.
You have 76 million total cap space. That is without CJ.
They could sign a guard in free agency. They could draft a guard. They could literally, like, they could get Colin Gillespie right now in free agency. Well, not right now. It's not free agency yet. But they could sign Colin Gillespie for free agency, who's literally one of the best free agent guards right now.
I saw
And
you
that would,
mention that the other day, and it had me thinking. I don't hate that.
He's great. Like, he's literally one of the best free agents. He would instantly improve this team. Instantly improve this team. And with Kuminga, I think that's a really interesting question. And I hate I made it to where it's like we can't determine this before the draft, because I think a lot of it is going to really be dependent on that. Because if we draft, let's say, a power forward, then, like, let's say we draft Caleb Wilson or Boozer, then I don't really see a real reason to keep Kuminga. Well, I mean, I do, because I mean they're going to be trading Reese J or Mo probably. I think,
Yeah.
because Kuminga is better. So it's just, I would probably keep, well, not probably, I would 50-50 keep Kuminga on a low ball contract. It's just, for me, the offense is just very inconsistent. And I just don't really like that about Kuminga. He's very transitional wide, and he's just a very inconsistent player despite how good the defense is. And I just don't like that about him.
I do want to ask you,
Yeah, go ahead.
what do you think? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
You're
I
good.
want to ask you, what do you think do you think the Hawks try to get an extension done with Kuminga? Because they have that team option, but it's 24 million.
I think they're gonna get it done. I think they're gonna try to get extension done. I don't think they're gonna accept that team option. They're gonna get extension.
You think they go for an extension for less per year?
If it was me, I would. I think they would.
I agree.
Because I'm not paying Kuminga $20 million. I don't think he's worth that much.
Mm-mm.
The defense is really good. I just don't think Kuminga. The offense is it. I just don't think he's worth. He's not a $20 million player. That's worth it to get Alexander Walker. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not paying him. I'm not paying you that, big guy. You're gonna be. Besides, he's maybe coming off the bench. I'm especially not paying you that much. So.
Yeah. No. I agree. I mean, because you're looking at 24 million of a team option, and then he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't hurt as much because Jalen's only making 30 million.
But yeah,
it's gods.
But they trade him to here for a reason. I think they probably intended him. They trade him here to help sign him for extension. He helps the team a lot with, physicality, the athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 100% sure they're probably going to sign him with an extension. It's just, we just got to see what the extension
if they could somehow get him at $17-18 million a year, I think I would do that.
Honestly, I would say 15-16. That's probably way lowballing him, but that would be me. That would be my number if it was me.
I honestly, I really think that his camp is going to go for 20, and the Hawks are going to go for 15.
If his camp goes for that, then if he wants like that much money, then he can go somewhere else, and we can get another power forward, and we'll be fine, I guess. We got 2 picks.
Yeah, hey,
we got 2 picks. That. We got Anson Noel.
See, so, he would be a little just under 15% of the cap at that team option.
Like, yeah,
There's
it's
just
just
no way.
I just yeah, I'm not paying Kaminga that much. Like, I'm not paying him 20 million. That's just too much.
I would love the the 15, 16 would be awesome. I'm cool going 17, 18, but the 15 or 16 would put him at the Okongwu and Nikhil money.
Yeah.
I think that I think that's what the Hawks will shoot for. Um, I don't know. It's so tough because they're gonna have a lot of money freed up.
I think
Because
so.
I
I,
I don't think Zach will be here, and I don't think Corey will be here.
yeah. I think so much of this is just gonna be determined with the draft. We just gotta wait until where the draft pick
Yep.
is.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna wait until May 10th to determine the future of this franchise. If it's seventh, then they're probably just gonna get point guard. Because that's where that's where most of the guards are, that 5 to 10 range. If it's
Do you think they bring Jock back?
probably he's a good third guard. He's a really not third guard, third center. I think they're probably gonna
I
get
think he would be, yeah.
I
3rd
think he's
center?
I think they're gonna get a legit second or first center
Yeah.
or starting center like Isaiah Hartenstein or Robert Williams or backup center, maybe. We'll see though. Or
Man.
they could just draft one center.
Yeah.
Well, the
Um,
center class isn't that good this year, so we gotta see on that.
yeah, I think Mara's really the only one.
I mean, there's Quintins, Jaden Quint, but he's kind of the injuries are questionable, and
Okay,
Steinbach,
yeah.
but he's not. I don't know if he's really a center, but other than that, that's really it. Because most of the centers I think people want went back to school, so it's gonna be next season.
Mhm.
Next season. So, but one final question for you before we close this out. Where do you think the pick is gonna land? Honestly, so
Um,
it could land on 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. I think. Let me make sure I got that right. Before I
well, one roll at the Tankathon and got 1, so we're going 1.
oh my god, that's crazy.
Um, honestly, man, I don't know. It's tough because I think if I only had 1 of Nola or Milwaukee, my guess would be 7. But it's tough because it's the better of them. So they're like it very well could be top 4.
The best odds currently are 35.6% chance of us getting the eighth pick.
8th pick.
Yes, 35.6%. Eighth pick.
Okay.
So with the Pels pick, the odds are about 7% for one, 7% for two, about 8% for three, about 8% for four, 20 for seven, 36% for eight, 9, 14%, one and literally less than zero for 10 and 11 respectively. So it's gonna be interesting. Milwaukee pick. The only time you really have to worry about it is unless it literally falls below, unless the Pelicans pick literally falls below 11, which I don't think is gonna happen. If it does, that'll be if that pick does fall below 10 or 9, I'll be sad, but I'll be laughing because that
Now,
would lit.
where do both of these picks start? Because isn't it the pick can't fall more than 4 spots from where it starts?
Yeah. So Pelicans pick starts at 7. The Milwaukee pick starts at 10.
So they would have okay, so they would have the lowest they could get is 10.
Yeah, basically. Technically, Pelicans pick could land at 11, but it's like
Milwaukee
literally,
would have to be before or have to be
yeah,
better.
uh-huh.
Okay. So you're looking at top 10.
Yeah.
It's
What do you
tough.
think? Where do you think
My
the pick
my my
lands?
guess would be 6.
Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I got the chart right. Okay, it can't land between 5 or 6. It
Oh, it
skips
can.
5 and 6. Yeah, it can. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Those are numbers you can choose.
My guess is 7.
Okay. Yo, I'm gonna be risky. I'm gonna say where you get pick 4. We don't get top
That's
3. We
very
get pick
doable.
4. I think
See,
we're getting,
it
yeah.
works out perfectly because in this draft, there's like the 4 guys are who you want. One of those 4 guys. And
Yeah.
5 or 6 you skip. So I'm like, I mean, if you want to slide in at the 4,
I I don't know why. I just think we're gonna get 4.
I'll take Caleb Wilson.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if Caleb Wilson's gonna be there at 4, man. Well, we'll see on the draft combine or draft lottery, but man, I just 4. I don't know, man. It's just 4. I've had this special attachment to 4 for some reason. But do you have any final thoughts before we close this out?
Oh, save us, AJ.
All
Save
right.
us, AJ.
My final thoughts are this draft lottery is gonna be probably the craziest day in his Hawks fandom since 2024. I cannot wait for that day. That's gonna be fun. But with that, thank you all so much for listening to Hard Knock Hawks. Thank you, Blake, as always, and we will see you all next time for the next episode. Ah, ah, ah.